This next guy, give it up for him. Very funny cat. Worked before in this room. Let's hear it for Sean Whitmore.
Thank you for that applause. I'm afraid I'm not going to live up to that expectation, so I'll tell you that right away. My name is Sean. I'm a comedian. I mention that because it's not something people always notice about me right away. The last time I came up on the stage, the audience was looking at me like they were waiting for the comedian to show up. They thought I was there to fix the microphone. Luckily, I was bombing that night, so I just tapped the mic and got the hell out of there. I was at an airport last week, and you'll notice that I don't segue cleanly from one joke to the next, so you'll have to keep up. And I tried to sign up for the Mile High Club. I couldn't find an application. I did set up my own club while I was there, though. I call it the Sea Level Street Gang. That's for people who get a hard-on walking through the metal detector at LAX. And I think so far I'm the only member, but once word gets around, I think I'll still be the only member. Alright, now that I've done that joke. I hope I look tall to you. That's not a vanity thing. It's just other audiences have told me that I'm shorter than I look. And they were looking at me at the time, so I'm not sure what to make of that. I can't actually be any shorter than I am. So that leads me to believe that they were fantasizing about other comedians while I was performing. Which I don't necessarily mind. I just hope that the imaginary comedians were pulling their weight. I'm not so great that I can afford to pull up stiff with me. Alright. So just so I know, that one was okay, right? I'll make a note of that for next time. That one next time. Alright, please stop laughing so much, it's kind of throwing me off. Usually I don't have to tell audiences that, they kind of just come to that conclusion by themselves. Like most comedians, I have a poor self-image and delusions of grandeur. Which means that I hate myself, but I want everyone to know about it. So I walk up to people on the street and say, I don't think I deserve to be happy, pass it on. So, let's see, what was I talking about? Poor self-image, girls. It's like I was saying the other day to this girl that I've been stalking. I'm kidding, of course. I'm not allowed to talk to her. I actually have a looser definition of the term stalking than most people. I think that if she doesn't know you're doing it, it really shouldn't count. That used to be called admiring in this country. Alright, that one didn't work. I'll say that one for in case I tell a joke that's too funny and you can't stop laughing. I'll say that one and quiet it down. I call that an extinguisher joke. Most of my jokes end up as extinguisher jokes. It's better than what I used to call them. Bad jokes. And see, I just got 2 or 3 good jokes out of a bad one, so you think I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. Not a professional comedian, but I have a profession. And it is tough meeting women, though. There's this girl at work that I like, but there are too many differences. I don't think it's going to work out. We have different friends, different tastes in music. She can't stand me at all, and her husband just hates me, so I just don't see a happy ending there. I do better with women in bars, quite frankly, because I notice that a woman's opinion of me is directly proportional to the strength of the liquor they're ingesting at the time. And the difference between get the hell away from me and you're better than nothing seems to be about 1/5 of whiskey. The last girl I dated doesn't drink at all. Anymore. Not after that date. You wake up the next morning smelling of Sean Love, and it's better than an AA meeting. I am the 13th step. For some reason, people seem to think that I have low self-esteem. Can I tell the joke first, please? As I was saying before I was interrupted by your premature amusement. I don't have low self-esteem. I think I have the exact right amount of esteem for somebody who looks like me. The Phantom of the Opera had low self-esteem. He wore a mask and lived in the sewer. You'd think one would be enough, but he did both. I'm not quite there yet, which is good because there's no way I can afford a sewer in Los Angeles right now. My dad, on the other hand, was a real ladies' man. I say was not because he's dead, but because he's married, which falls under the same general heading. My dad is one of the most old school guys on the planet. I mean, he's a master of rephrasing himself. I'll tell you what I mean. When my parents went to go buy their first new car, my dad saw a 1965 convertible Mustang. He wanted one since he was a kid. He said, "Honey, I think we should buy this car." My mom didn't like it. She thought it looked too old-fashioned, so she wanted to get something else. My dad said, "Let me rephrase that. Honey, I'm buying this car. Now, if you think you can walk home from here, you're perfectly willing to try. And if you can catch up to the car, it's a convertible, so you can hop right in." My dad was tough, though. Growing up with him, it was either his way or the highway. And when I say the highway, I don't mean you got to leave. I mean, he would go get a chunk of concrete from the front drive and hit you with it until you did it his way. I don't want to make it sound like my dad beat me, because I know what will happen if I do. But let's just say he didn't believe in the timeout. He believed in the recuperation period. So I always looked up to him. I think most kids look up to their dad and think that he's Batman. And then you get a little older and you realize he just likes to hit people. And that when the police come to your house at night, it's not because the Riddler broke out of jail. Despite all that, my dad always supported me in everything I did. He supported every decision I made. Like when I was a kid, I came home from school once. He said, "I'm tired of looking at those streaks on the window. Clean the window." I said I was tired. He said, "Let me rephrase myself. I'm tired of looking at those streaks. You can clean the window, or you can go through the window. I'll support whichever decision you make." Now, it's important for a comedian to end on a high note, and that was probably the best joke I had, so I think that ship has sailed, so I'm going to get out of here. Ladies, I'll be hanging out outside the club afterwards, so if you want to come looking for me, I'll be shocked, quite frankly. Remember what they say, once you go white, you keep all your other options open.